Good morning and welcome to the new episode of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. We have seen China being wrongly criticized for its treatment of minorities, and rightly so. India is condemned whenever there is a perception that minorities have been hurt. But then I'm amazed at the treatment of minorities in Pakistan. Why is it Pakistan itself, which is such vociferous, loud and condemning India, is so quiet about its own treatment of minorities? Imagine a 12-year-old Christian girl, Zarbia, leaves her home in Rawalpindi with a couple known to the family. Purpose? To buy a Mother's Day gift for her grandmother. And she never returned. It was found this 12-year-old girl had been kidnapped. With the help of the couple known to them who had gone. She was not only kidnapped, she was drugged and married to a 35-year-old man. And lo, not only that, this Christian girl was forced to become a Muslim. And this is a living reality of a large number of families in Pakistan who belong to Christianity, Hinduism or Sikhism. As a matter of fact, I'll call it a pedophilic emergency in Pakistan. Children's exploitation is reaching epidemic stages and it needs emergent action. What is UNICEF doing? United Nations Children Emergency Fund. What is Human Rights Commission doing? And what is the custodian of the word morality USA doing apart from giving F-16s to Pakistan in a huge order without charging a single penny worth $450 billion. And this particular one target, young girls from the communities of religious minorities. And there are three major minorities which are suffering. Christians, Hindus, Sikhs. Almost all the victims are young girls who were kidnapped, threatened, blackmailed. And Zarbia's case, she was kidnapped and then she was told if you try to escape or complain, her brothers would be killed. Imagine the horror of a young child who must have undergone this torture and couldn't do anything. And she had to succumb to the lust of a 35-year-old man. The issue of sexual violence against children, especially discriminatory against the minorities and misogyny, intersect to create this specific issue, which I call it pedophilic emergency. The state of Pakistan continues to fail minority communities. It was one thing that at one time when Pakistan became independent, they had a Hindu minister, Mandal. And they were proud of saying that we have a Hindu minister. If India has Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad, we have Mandal. But then where has that gone? Just last month, the Sikh community in Bunair, Khyber, Pakistan, took to the streets to protest in a similar accident. A 35-year-old teacher was forcibly converted and married to a young Muslim man. Before that, in March, a 17-year-old Hindu girl was shot dead in Rori, Sindh, after resisting an abduction attempt by the Muslim movement. And according to the admission by the Human Rights Commission of Pakistan, in 2018 alone, at least 1,000 cases of forced conversion were reported. And you can well imagine, Pakistan is still a feudal society, where Vaderas are the landlords all sway, and all your women are their women. It's as simple as that. So these 1,000 cases happened in the cities which were reported. And at least 100 times more must be happening in the villages. The issue of conversion of the minority girl children has serious ramifications. What is unique is that the victims are always minority girls, minor girls, and their targets are the old men. Under the veneer of doing religious service or conversion, what is actually happening is the old men are targeting minor girls with impunity. How come we never hear of the young boys or the men being forcibly converted? Impunity because of the law against coerced forced conversion was rejected by a federal parliamentary committee in October 2021. In India, you can't forcibly convert anybody because under the constitution, all are equal. Not so in Pakistan. Forcible conversions are legal. And when they wanted to change the law in October 21, they said, no, we will not change. The perpetrators and the allies are so powerful that no legislator can dare go against them. And the judges go to the pressure to favor the abusers. That's the problem. In sin, this law was passed, but it remained a dead letter. Impunity because of much of the country. There is no law against the child marriages. You can marry a girl as young as 6 years old because Muhammad had married Aisha when she was 6 years old. And when there is no such law, and you can ask a child to be converted because then you are doing sawab, a thing which is to be respected and honored. Only Sindh in 2013 managed to pass a law outlining marriages of girls under the age of 18. But as per the Population Council report titled Child Marriages in Sindh, which was released in December 21, Sindh has seen an increase in child marriages, especially of the girls under 13. Clearly, the executive and the judiciary are not ensuring implementation. Isn't it shameful, abominable, and detestable? Pakistan accepts the legal definition of a child as an individual under the age of 18, and they follow, they say, UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. Nevertheless, as per the Child Marriage Restraint Act of 1929 and Muslim Family Law Ordinance of 1961, the minimum age for the boy is 18, girls 16, everywhere except in Sindh. And this is contradictory. It's impunity because of the forced marriages becoming illegal, especially of children. Courts continue to provide relief to the abusers who kidnap young girls for minority faiths and forcibly marry them. I was amazed that the judge of Lahore High Court, bench of Rawalpindi, reportedly dismissed Zarbia's case within 1.5 minutes of declaring it to be consensual marriage and acceptable conversion by the girl. You tell me, how can a 12-year-old child consent to a marriage, an adult 35 years old? How can a 12-year-old consent to a change of a religion without the consent of her parents? And how can a 12-year-old be away from the parents' guardianship? And how can a 12-year-old be anywhere but either at home or in school? The issue of forced conversions of minorities and grandchildren has serious ramifications. And I'm amazed that the rulers of Pakistan and the custodian of Pakistan, the Pakistan army, they are blind to that. First implication is a violation of the inherent dignity of children and the family granted by the Constitution of Pakistan, Article 14, as well as the right of religious freedom granted in Article 20. So 2 articles of the Pakistan Constitution leave aside the international. And what are the courts doing? Shut. Because they know that they dare not oppose the mullahs. Second implication, there is a huge impact on the education of minority children because the families are hesitant sending their children to the school for the fear they'll be kidnapped. This violates Article 25A. Third, this violates the fundamental rights of the children who are guaranteed basic security and liberty as per Article 9, and it also violates Article 11 outlining slavery and forced labor. Is this forced marriage, forced conversion not an act of slavery? It is. According to the slavery report of 2021, these marriages are nothing but a cover for slavery and human trafficking. And then these girls are basically, after marriage, they are trafficked and forced to be prostitutes, sex workers. And it has been documented by the People's Commission for Minority Rights. So the government bodies themselves accept this. And yet, no legal action is being taken, no courts are taking cognizance, no police is taking action. Fourth implication. This fear compels the minority community, especially to Hindus and Sikhs, to leave Pakistan, and despite this country being their home, if the entire system is failing to protection, how can they enjoy their citizenship rights? Fifth, in failing to protect the minorities, the state is not only violating its constitutional duty and its commitment under international law, including the International Covenant on Children, Civil and Political Rights, as well as the commitment of Pakistan to improve human rights protection. And then they say that they are absolutely fair. The violation of the children's innocence, their abduction, sexual exploitation, helplessness of the parents who are denied the custody of their minors, should serve as a wake-up call for the state, for the judiciary, and for the army. Religious parties and Council of Islamic Ideology should condemn the criminal behavior of the actors that force to convert children. And instead of invoking consent, the importance of which is never highlighted, even the case of adults who choose to marry consensually. Parliament has to legislate to outlaw and make this a cognizable offence. And the police should be forced to take action, and if the police fails to take action, they must be terminated without any. And this is not going to be possible until army intervenes. Because in Pakistan, the biggest agent of change is army, or to some extent the Supreme Court. And both are keeping holier than thou, quiet, holy attitude. Zarvia and other girls deserve a childhood with their parents and the right to go to school, not a childhood to be exploited and scarred, not a childhood to be raped and exploited sexually. Can Pakistan government ensure a safe home for all its children, irrespective of their religion? Is this asking too much? And all these loud mouths who condemn India, all these boisterous noise about the protection of the Muslims all over the world, the Muslim Ummah, would they realize that their criminal and sinful action is a slur on Islam itself? And the so-called custodians of religion and the custodians of the civil law are not only failing in their duties, they are in fact promoting all this for their ulterior purpose, and that is to continue the stranglehold on the people so that their rule, their order can never be challenged. The state of the children, especially of the minorities in Pakistan, is heart-rending. It breaks my heart to see these flowers being crushed. The people who are controlling the destiny of Pakistan fit to be called human beings? I don't think so. Animals would be better than they are. So I don't want to call them animals as well, because I don't want to insult the animals. They are degraded subspecies of subanimal level. And shamefully, the custodians of morality, European Union and USA, have no sense and moral responsibility of really being aware. They are aware, but taking any action that can give some solace, some hope to these children of the minorities. Pakistan has failed, is failing to protect its minorities, and that's a shameful reality.